A single insect weighing less than a raindrop is responsible for more human deaths every year than any other animal on Earth, more than every shark, every snake, every large predator combined, and it doesn't accomplish this through size, strength, or venom potency at all. It does it through something almost absurdly small. A needle-thin mouthpart capable of slipping microscopic organisms directly into the human bloodstream. Organisms that can silently attack the brain, the nervous system, or internal organs days after the bite itself has already faded from memory. This is the mosquito, found virtually everywhere in the United States, from humid southern states to mountain regions to the edges of suburban backyards, anywhere standing water collects, a puddle, a clogged gutter, an unused flower pot. There's no exotic environment required here. Mosquitoes thrive directly alongside human life, which is precisely what makes them so persistently dangerous. What makes the mosquito dangerous isn't venom in the traditional sense at all. It's transmission. When a female mosquito feeds, since only females require blood to develop eggs, she uses a specialized mouthpart called a proboscis, a thin, needle-like structure that pierces skin and locates a small blood vessel beneath the surface. Before drawing blood, she injects a small amount of saliva, which contains compounds that prevent blood from clotting and numb the area slightly, allowing her to feed undetected for longer. This saliva is also, unfortunately, the perfect delivery vehicle. If that particular mosquito is carrying a virus or parasite picked up from a previous blood meal on an infected animal or person, those pathogens travel directly into the new host's bloodstream through that same saliva, bypassing the skin's natural defenses entirely. This is why mosquitoes are classified by scientists as disease vectors, organisms that don't cause illness themselves, but actively transport disease-causing organisms from one host to another. In the United States, the most significant of these is West Nile virus, a virus that can infect the nervous system, spread by mosquitoes that previously fed on infected birds, which act as a natural reservoir for the virus circulating quietly in the environment. Other mosquito species in parts of the country can transmit additional viruses, including eastern equine encephalitis, La Crosse virus, and, in regions with the right mosquito species present, viruses like dengue and Zika during periods of active local transmission. Evolutionarily, none of this disease transmission serves the mosquito's own survival directly. The mosquito isn't trying to make anyone sick. It's simply trying to feed efficiently and avoid detection long enough to get the blood it needs, and the pathogens it carries have evolved separately to exploit that exact behavior, using the mosquito purely as transportation between hosts. The mosquito is, in essence, an extraordinarily effective accidental courier, and the sheer number of mosquitoes biting an enormous number of people and animals every single day is what allows pathogens that would otherwise struggle to spread at all to move efficiently across entire populations. The bite itself typically causes only a mild, immediate sensation, a brief, sharp pinprick as the proboscis penetrates skin, often barely noticed in the moment, especially if attention is elsewhere. Within minutes, the area usually begins to itch and swell slightly, a small raised welt forming as the body's immune system reacts to compounds in the mosquito's saliva, a reaction many people have experienced hundreds of times throughout their life without any further consequence. For the overwhelming majority of bites, this welt fades within a day or two, and that's the entire story. But if that particular mosquito happened to be carrying a virus like West Nile, the story for an infected person can take a very different path, beginning anywhere from 2 to 14 days after the bite, once the virus has had time to replicate inside the body. Most people infected with West Nile virus, in fact the large majority, experience no symptoms at all, their immune system quietly clearing the virus without ever announcing its presence. Among those who do develop symptoms, the typical experience resembles a moderate flu, fever, headache, body aches, occasionally a skin rash, and fatigue that can linger for several days to a couple of weeks before gradually resolving. In a smaller percentage of cases, the virus crosses into more serious territory by reaching the central nervous system, the brain and spinal cord, causing a condition called neuroinvasive disease. When this happens, the headache often intensifies dramatically, becoming severe and persistent in a way clearly different from an ordinary headache. A high fever frequently develops alongside increasing confusion, disorientation, or difficulty concentrating as inflammation begins affecting brain tissue directly. In documented severe cases, muscle weakness can set in, sometimes asymmetrically affecting one limb more than another, a pattern that has led some cases to initially be mistaken for a stroke. Neck stiffness, sensitivity to light, and in the most serious documented presentations, seizures or paralysis can occur, requiring hospitalization and close monitoring as the body and immune system work to bring the infection under control. Recovery from severe neuroinvasive cases can take weeks to months, and some documented patients have experienced lingering fatigue, muscle weakness, or cognitive difficulties for an extended period afterward, even after the active infection has cleared. Risk of this severe outcome rises significantly with age, and older adults make up a disproportionate share of serious West Nile virus cases nationally. Picture someone enjoying a warm summer evening on their back patio, swatting occasionally at mosquitoes drawn from a nearby clogged gutter that's held standing water for weeks without anyone noticing. A handful of bites go entirely unremarked upon, indistinguishable from the dozens of other mosquito bites that same summer. 10 days later, an unexplained fever and pounding headache arrive, and what initially feels like a routine summer flu eventually leads to a doctor's visit, blood tests, and a diagnosis connecting the illness back to that one unremarkable evening on the porch. There's no specific antiviral medication for West Nile virus itself, so treatment for mild cases focuses on rest, fluids, and symptom management, similar to treating a flu. Severe neuroinvasive cases require hospitalization, where supportive medical care, fluids, pain management, and monitoring for complications helps the body fight off the infection while doctors watch closely for any worsening neurological symptoms. Anyone experiencing a severe headache, confusion, or muscle weakness following recent mosquito bites, particularly during summer months, should seek medical evaluation promptly. There's one detail still ahead that explains why, despite every defense humans have developed, this insect remains nearly impossible to fully eliminate from daily life. Here's the fact most people never think about. Mosquitoes don't need a pond or a stream to breed. They can complete their entire breeding cycle, from egg to biting adult, in a bottle cap's worth of standing water left undisturbed for roughly a week or two, which means the most significant source of mosquitoes near any home is rarely some distant wetland. It's almost always something close, forgotten, and small: a clogged gutter, an old tire, a bucket, a plant saucer, any object capable of holding even a tiny, stagnant pool of water. This single biological detail, more than any spray or repellent, explains why mosquito populations rebound so persistently around human homes no matter how many adult mosquitoes get swatted away one at a time. The mosquito will never be remembered for size, venom, or aggression, and yet it remains, by sheer accumulated impact across the world, one of the most consequential creatures discussed in this entire series. Proof that the deadliest threats in nature don't always announce themselves with teeth or stingers. Sometimes the most dangerous thing in the room is something small enough to land on your arm without you ever feeling it arrive. And somewhere close by, another creature with its own quiet, overlooked method of harm is already waiting to be discovered. This is the kind of thing nobody warns you about until it's too late. Subscribe now, so the next warning reaches you first.